welcome back. My name is Courtney and this is the Accounting Struggle, where we speak about our struggles with accounting openly and honestly. We do not run from them. And today I am going to be talking to you about how to prepare for the CPA exam in under 6 weeks. FAR is the biggest section, so that one I would say you can give yourself 8 weeks for that. That's the biggest one. But the other three, BEC, audit, and regulation, I believe that they can all be prepared for in under 6 weeks. And when I made that comment in another video, a couple people were like, well, how, girl? How do you do that? So I'm just gonna go over some tips and some things that I think will be helpful in preparing yourself for that process, because I found in my failing stages that giving yourself too much time for an exam is actually, or equally as damaging as not giving yourself enough time. So you'll need to create a detailed study plan. Your study plan needs to have what time you're going to study, what days you're going to study, each chapter that you're going to study and when, and have goals for like where you will be in your study process and by when. So week 1, I'm covering chapters 1 and 2, and I'm going to do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, you'll show all of those details when you're doing your study plan. I would suggest writing it out or typing it into an Excel, just so that you have a very, very detailed schedule, almost like a project that you're working on or anything that you would turn into someone. It needs to be that detailed. You need to know exactly where you should be in your study process by a certain time. So if you're going to give yourself 6 weeks to prepare for an exam, the first 4 weeks, I would say go ahead and study all of the materials, and then the last 2 weeks should be purely review. If this is a retake, then I would say the last week should be review, and then the rest should be going through the materials. When you're creating your detailed study plan, you want to be looking at the subject matter. Look at these topics and see which topics are topics that you know you'll need to spend a little bit more time on just based on your skill set. If you know for a fact that the accrual method or something like that is not your strong suit, or if maybe you're doing tax but you have never been into tax and now you're studying for reg, and you know there's certain things that really bothered you when you were in college that you really struggle with, give yourself a little bit extra time to go through those materials. Now, if there's something that you're like, oh, this is my jam, I love this type of stuff, LIFO, FIFO, that's my thing, I got this, then you don't maybe need to spend as much time as what's suggested. So just think about that when you're making your plan. And when you're making your detailed study schedule, it should say that you're going to study every single day. There's no reason to skip days. It doesn't make sense. You're going to forget stuff if you look away from it for a day or two, because it's not like super interesting information that you're just walking around with. It's very detailed, very nuanced. If you're like normal, like the rest of us, these are not details that you're just walking around with. So you want to be looking at this material every single day. I would suggest studying at least twice a day. Once when you wake up, as soon as you wake up, before the kids wake up, before you have to get ready for work, before your workout, whatever it is you do in the morning, get up an hour earlier and study. When you wake up and you study, for the first thing you do, before you do anything else, before you read your emails, your brain is more permeable, the information is going to stick. It's actually a lot more refreshing too. Like you're not having a bad day yet, nothing has gone wrong, you're refreshed, you're ready to just take on whatever the materials are. So I wouldn't suggest listening to a lecture, but I would run some multiple choice questions or do a simulation or just take some notes. As soon as you wake up, 30 to 45 minutes. Like that should be literally the first thing you do after you open your eyes. And then I would suggest also getting in another quick little study session sometime in the middle of the day. If you know you take a lunch break, 30 to 45 minutes, get some multiple choice questions in there, maybe read a little. Also, if you can, if your review course has an app, I would suggest downloading that app so that everywhere you go, if you have downtime, that time that you would normally pull out your phone, and like in the grocery store line or wherever you are, you can run through multiple choice questions, you can read through a lecture, like whatever it is, every single standing stopping point. If you're at a red light, pull out your phone, notes. This is the only way you're going to get this stuff done. If you have a life and a full-time job, 6 weeks is not a lot of time to prepare for an exam, but it can be done. You just have to be studying all the time. Like there's no other thing that you're doing in your free time other than studying. And then of course you need to have like a real full study session, one that is free of distractions. I was a library girl. I would go to the library. I would go to the quiet room in the back. People kind of knew like this is my room, so like don't be in here. But find a dedicated study space that is away from any other people who will bother you, people who will try and talk to you. So aka your family. Leave from around them. You need to go and study at the library or in your room with the door locked. And just make sure you're free of distractions. I would say put your phone on do not disturb. Just cut off all communication with the outside world. It's time to study. It's time to focus. And just have the mindset of like, I know that this is the time that I'm going to really have to dig deep. It's only going to be for a short period of time. It's only for a season. I don't have to live like this forever. I'd rather just go hard for a little while than to be dragging this out forever. So just go into every study session distraction free and ready to work, ready to learn. Try not to do really long study sessions like 8, 9, 10 hours. I mean, if it has to be that way because of your schedule, I understand. But I think that in my experience looking back, all of those long hours that I was putting in at the library, they did not pay dividends like the power lunch sessions of studying for an hour, or me studying like literally just at the stoplight or everywhere. And all those 5-minute study sessions, those early morning study sessions for 30 minutes, those actually were way more beneficial than my long 8 hours. I'm pretending to study, but I'm going to Starbucks downstairs every 5 minutes, or I'm pulling out my phone every 10 minutes because I'm bored. Those were not productive study sessions. So you just need to make sure when you have a study session that it is productive. You're not just in there listening to the lecture, letting it play while you're on Pinterest in another tab. All your tabs are clear. You just are focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is passing the CPA exam. So your study sessions, you need to be walking away from it knowing like, okay, I got this. I know that chapter. Like, ask me anything about bonds and I can tell you what's good. You need to stick to your schedule as much as possible. I understand that things come up, but if it is not a life-altering emergency, don't be flexible. This is not the time to help, so-and-so with her crises or whatever. You really need to let everybody know, everybody in your close circle, hey, I'm really focused on this right now. I'm going to catch up with y'all when I'm done. That's pretty much how it needs to go. Don't be too flexible. You can't just take off weekends because I didn't even go to dinner with my husband for his birthday because I was like, my exam is next week. I love you, but sorry. So yeah, I would say cut off all the nonsense, not that your husband is nonsense, but cut off all the distractions and be very focused and stick to your schedule. If you made this study plan, don't think, oh, well, I have 2 more weeks at the... No, like, don't do that kind of stuff. That is how you get a 73. Make sure you stick to your schedule. Study a few times a day, every single day, and make sure you are very free from distraction when you're studying. When you're going through these study materials, make sure you focus on the good stuff, the meat. That's where you want to put all of your attention. So my suggestion, I've said this in many videos, is to start with the multiple choice questions and then work your way back. I had a math teacher in college who would give us homework, and then the next time we come to class, we would learn the lesson that homework was on. You had to at least try, and it would be like, but sis, we don't even know how to do this. But the reason why that worked is because when we would be going through the actual lecture, it would be like, oh, well, now I know what I did wrong because I've already attempted this. So I'm listening way more actively. I'm trying to figure out, why was I stuck on this one part? Like, I'm more interested. My sensors are just more alive. So when you listen to the lecture first, you don't really know what is the most important part. It's once you've gone through the questions, you can see what they're emphasizing, you can see the examples, it means something to you when you go back and listen to the lecture. So just focus on the good stuff. If there's something that they're emphasizing a lot, go straight to that part and listen to that part of the lecture. Don't waste your time on listening to the lecture just for the sake of saying you listened to the entire thing. If you've gone through all the multiple choice questions and you have scored a 90 or 100 on them, you've read through all the explanations, you don't really have any questions, then I wouldn't listen to the lecture. I would just skim the book, skim that chapter, see if there's any important notes that you want to highlight, and keep it pressing. Don't waste your time listening to these lectures. Some of them are very long and drawn out, and you don't always gain anything from them. It's only the stuff that you really need to review. Now, y'all, This is the most important part. Well, all of it's important, but this part is critical. You have to do a cumulative review. When you are reviewing, you cannot go in chronological order from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and then at the end say, okay, now I'm going to review everything. That is the worst way to study. It's the best way to get a 73 or to run out of time and feel like, oh, I'm going to push it back. Study as you go and stack. So when you're on chapter 1, you've gone through all of that material, and then you move on to chapter 2, and you get to the end of chapter 2, you need to stop and review chapters 1 and 2 together before you move on to 3. If you're like, ooh, but my schedule says I should be on 3 by now, so I'm gonna just move on to 3. I've been there. I've played those games before. Your schedule might say that, and that's great, and we want you to stick to your schedule. But if you move on to 3 before you've reviewed 1 and 2, bad. Big mistake. Don't do it. Review it. Even if it's just 1 day of review or 1 or 2 hours of review, go back and refresh your mind on 1 and 2 before you move on to 3. And then once you get 3 done, 1, 2, and 3 when you review before you go to 4. And just keep doing that the whole way through until you're at the end. So that way when you get to the end and you're ready to review everything, it won't be 6 months since you've seen the material. I'm exaggerating, but it won't be so far gone that you don't remember it and now you have to like relearn it all together. It should very much be a refresher. You should see it and be like, yeah, LIFO, I got that. So just make sure you're always reviewing it. You're not giving yourself enough time to forget this information. And that's one of the main reasons why you don't want to give yourself 3 and 4 months to prepare. It might sound good, but I'm telling you, you're going to procrastinate. So give yourself a smaller window. That means you're going to be more focused. You have a deadline. It's a hard deadline. You can't keep pushing it back. Set yourself up for success and make sure that you give yourself a reasonable time, enough time to cover everything, but challenge yourself to get through all the material in the time allotted. Also, be very careful with which review course you go with. Now, like me, I got Becker for free. I was an ambassador when I was in school, so they gave it to me for free. And then once that expired, my job paid for it. So I never had to pay for a review course. And Becker is what most companies partner with. So they're giving you that for free. Take advantage of it because study review courses are not cheap. But make sure you're getting one that actually speaks to your spirit. You connect with it, you understand it, it's something that works for you. And if you need to, supplement these materials. There's a lot of great courses out there that will have maybe like a final review, or you don't have to go all of it with the same course. Like if maybe you have Becker that your job gave it to you for free, grab some flashcards from another review course. There's one that I discovered after I was done with the CPA exam, of course, called I-75, and it's a great review course and it's very affordable. And then he'll have stuff where it's just a little review that you would do 1 to 2 days before your exam that will make the difference between literally 1 or 2 points. So it could take you from getting a 73 to a 75, which is what you need to pass. So stack and use some supplements. If you need to get a flashcard, do some research, see what you can add on to what you already have, because that might mean the difference between passing and failing, and we want you to pass, obviously. So I actually have a coupon code, so I will link to the one that I mentioned in the description box. They have a lot of things that you can add on. You can do your full review course with them, but if you already have one for free, you can also still get something to supplement what you already have, just so that way you have more than enough to succeed. You want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, like I said before. So I know that's intense and I know that's a lot, but I definitely think it can be done. I've done it that way. Many people have done it that way. And you have to remember, this is stuff you learned in college. This is not brand new information. If you're eligible to sit for the CPA exam, this is not stuff you'll be learning for the first time when you see it in your review course. So definitely just keep that in mind when you're coming up on material. If it's something that you haven't really spent a lot of time on, or you struggled with it when you were in school, then give yourself a little bit more time for that. But for the stuff that you know you got it, you just need to refresh your memory on it, review it, and then move on. It can be a lot of material. It can be super overwhelming. But if you go into this with like the mindset of, oh my God, this is so much, I'm so overwhelmed, that's all you're going to focus. Whatever you focus on is what you're going to win at. But if you say, this is going to be a lot of work, it's going to require a lot of dedication and commitment from me, but I'm ready to take on this challenge. And I know that these are just words on paper. I am smarter than this. I can figure this stuff out. This is not foreign to me. I qualified to sit for this exam, so I have enough to get started. It is going to be difficult and it is going to be hard work, and some study days will be better than others, but I know I can get through this. Go into it with a positive attitude. Like my pastor always says, what is the best way to eat an entire elephant? One bite at a time. Why we eating elephants, I do not know, but the point is, if you're staring at it like, oh my God, this gigantic elephant, what am I gonna do? This is so much, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, then you're gonna be stressed. But if you just say, all right, hand me a fork, one bite at a time, and you'll get through it. So go into the CPA exam with that same attitude, and just know it's gonna be a lot of work. There's gonna be a lot of frustrating days, but it is not impossible to get this done. Plenty of people have done it. I mean, if I can do it, honey, definitely keep me posted. I really love hearing from y'all. I'm not just saying it for fluff. Let me know how it's going. Keep me posted. Leave me a comment, send me a DM, or if you're struggling, let me know that too, and let me know what else I can cover, how I can be of assistance. And by cover, I mean topic-wise. I'm not giving you no money. So yeah, keep in touch with me. Thank you so much for watching. It's always great having you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.